Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Riverwalk Talk. My name is Chip Harrington. This is a little show I've kind of started here in town over at the Ludlow Mills. The Riverwalk was recently redone and it's about a 1.1 mile walk, and I figured it'd be nice to kind of get out, get some steps in, and talk to some people while I'm walking on the Riverwalk. Many of you, I'm sure, support local businesses and have favorite restaurants, and one thing that we've been really fortunate in the area in the past few years is some new local breweries have opened up. And I live in Ludlow, and we're really fortunate to have two really great local breweries. So I figured I would reach out to one of the people who owns Vanished Valley and see if they'd be willing to talk about what it's like to be a business owner in Western Mass and Massachusetts, and some of the challenges, some of the really fun things and good things it's all about. So today I'm happy to invite Mr. Mike Rodrigues to my show. Come on over, Mike. What's going on, man?
How's it going, Chip?
This is Mike Rodrigues. He is the owner of Vanished Valley Brewing up on Center Street in town. And I don't know if you've seen the show, but
I have.
What we do, oh cool. What we do here is we're going to walk from here. Typically we start at the cul-de-sac and walk all the way over to the clock tower. Okay. But it is a complete sheet of ice right now at the cul-de-sac. So we're starting.
My ice skates today, so.
Yeah, it's and we're supposed to get more snow tonight. So we're starting up at the top of First Avenue. Right behind us there is the Senior Center on State Street. So we're just going to start there today and walk over to the clock tower. So
sounds good.
So let's do it, man. We're going to go. Thanks for accepting my invitation to come on over and do this.
Of course.
I know you're a busy guy and you have a lot going on, and everybody, I'm sure, who we're going to go down this way here, who, you know, people look at business owners and they're like, oh, it must be great to have your own business. You're your own boss.
Sure.
It's challenging, isn't it, to be your own business owner, right?
Of course.
So how long have you been in the restaurant industry?
Since I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Basically. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Actually, since I was 14, because I started catering with my parents when I was 14, 15. And then started working in the restaurant at Solmar at 18, bartending and managing. And I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. For those of you who might not know, Solmar, right over in Indian Orchard, right across the bridge, still there.
Still there, yeah, and it's still doing pretty good.
Still doing very well, yep. Yeah. Been there several times myself. So at a really young age, you kind of got into that. Did you always have kind of a knack for cooking and just really interested in kind of creating dishes like that?
No, I mean, a little bit at home, because I mean, I was the oldest, so
yep.
You know, I was my parents worked separate shifts and stuff like that, so I had to like fend for myself and my sisters a lot of times. And,
yeah.
But other than that, it kind of got like thrown into it at Solmar, and started bartending and started helping out in the kitchen and figured I liked it, and then it just went on from there.
Wow, so you've been doing it since you're 14 years old, and really 18 is kind of when you really got into it. So you've been self-employed your whole entire life,
yes.
Essentially, right?
Yes.
What are some of the biggest challenges of being self-employed? Because like I said, everybody has a perception. Like my wife and I go to a restaurant, we're kind of like, oh, this place is great. It must be so much fun, but there's a lot of challenges.
Oh, the restaurant business especially is very challenging. The margins are very slim. Food is crazy. As even now, it's even worse. You know, it's like the stock market.
Yeah,
it's up and down like a roller coaster. The biggest challenge is trying to keep food costs down and hire in staff. You know, I'm pretty fortunate. I have a very good core of staff that has been with me since for like over 10 years anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate in that respect, but it's a roller coaster ride. It's feast or famine. Some days, some months you feel like you're on top of the world, and other months you're like, shit, I don't know if I'm gonna make it past next week.
Yeah. Jeez. So Solmar was where your start. What's the evolution? Where'd you go after that, and how'd you end up to where you are now?
So from there we sold. My family sold, and we started Europa in South Hadley.
Yep.
There for a little while, and then in 2008, when the market crashed, things kind of went sour. So we sold to the E family.
Right.
Then kind of had a little hiatus where we were just catering for a while,
mm-hmm.
and ended up opening the breakfast place on West Street, which then caught fire.
Yeah.
After it was a little over a year, we were there, and then from there, actually, I was honestly pretty much done and thought I was going to just go get a job somewhere else because I was pretty burned out of the roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
But this opportunity came up, and we ended up with opening up. My father-in-law jumped in, and we ended up picking up the property on
The old
where we are
homestead.
now, with the old homestead.
Yeah.
So he stepped in and helped out huge, and we started Europa there. That was actually me and my family still running the restaurant. Manny kind of just was owned the property,
Yeah.
and wasn't involved in the business aspect. Then when things were like, my parents were thinking about retirement and stuff, and obviously I couldn't buy them out myself. And,
How old were you at this time, like when this was all happening?
this was just 20. This is 2017.
Yeah.
2017 when we started having these conversations, and I've always actually wanted to have do a brewery. My father-in-law asked, there was a little red building in the back that back in the day actually used to be the chef's building, and he came to me and asked, well, what do you want to do with that building? We should do some kind of business. And I'm like, well, I mean, if I did any kind of business, I'd like to do some kind of brewery, but I need to find a partner because I can't do it by myself.
Because you're like the restaurant, you're like a chef, like you.
Yeah, I'm a chef by trade.
Right.
And I understand the process of brewing. I played around with brewing a little bit when I was younger with my cousin, but I'm not writing recipes and stuff.
Yeah.
My partner Josh, we brought in, and he's the head brewer.
Right. What's Josh's last name?
Britton.
That's right. That's right.
So he writes the recipes and stuff like that, and I jump in and out wherever I'm needed and help out.
Yeah.
So that we decided to start that in that little red building, and just selling cans to go. And from there things launched, and I'm like, well, this might be a good opportunity to take buy my parents out.
Yeah.
And take over the whole property. So Manny jumped in on the business side, Josh came in, and my parents stepped down, and we opened up. Well, we did massive construction.
Yes.
Massive investment.
Yeah.
And and then we opened up Vanish Valley in 20. So we were selling beer all along, cans, but the tap room opened. Actually, it was March 1st of 2020, and as everybody knows, a month later we were closed because of COVID.
I remember thinking that, and just I went in there just as COVID was starting, because at the time it was like you can go get takeout, so we were always trying to support local restaurants at the time. And I remember talking to you, and you're just like, I just literally just opened this place up after just spending a year and a half investing and building this beautiful building and restaurant, and the world shuts down.
Yes.
Talk about stress.
Yeah, that, like I said, I spent many nights sleepless and
Jeez.
Not knowing what was going to happen next. But
oh my God, how scary.
Luckily, the community was super supportive. People were coming out buying gift cards, getting takeout, getting cans to go.
Yeah.
Something I was not expecting, and it was really cool to see. And that definitely helped us get us through.
Yeah.
The government had all the PP funds as well, but unfortunately we weren't really privy to much of it because we had just opened, so we had no history to show. But again, the community was what held us together.
Yeah. So just backing up a little bit. So you're in South Hadley, you get on West Street, you do your thing there. And Manny Vital, we're talking about your final.
Yep.
He's bought the homestead. So he and his family or somebody, they were the investors of the actual property of the homestead, because the homestead inn that used to be there, if people aren't familiar, up on Center Street in Ludlow, is an old historic building that was there for many, many years. And there's actually a lot of history on that property over there. There's even rumors that George Washington even stayed there at one point, and back in the day. But it's kind of a main thoroughfare, Route 21, that just comes right down through town. And behind there, it was literally an inn. There was like little inn buildings that people could stay in. I'm going way back in the day. So he purchased that property, and with the intent of just kind of doing what with it?
Well, he purchased the property with the intent to have me open up the restaurant and run the restaurant out of it. He was looking for the investment side of it. I came in and ran the business side of it.
Do you know how many owners have owned that property over the years? Do you know the history there?
Well, Fernando Noguera, he owned it for 8. I mean, he bought it after they had the fire.
Yeah.
So maybe it's only probably the third owners, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we are the third owners because they said it was the when the fire happened is when Fernando came in there and they bought it and they constructed the building.
Yeah. Because when you first bought it, it was still the original layout that from back in the day.
There was still an innkeeper's license, so there was people living downstairs.
Yeah, yeah, and you had like a little hall downstairs. I think I went there for like my junior high school dance or something like that back in the day. We headed over there, and then because you had the bar upstairs with the restaurant, and then when you decided to kind of really dive in and renovate the whole place, because it was a complete gut renovation addition.
For Vanish Valley, yeah, it was a complete gut. We started off just we were going to do the addition and ended up just gutting the whole building.
And was that kind of obviously contracted out? But I mean, Manny's a super talented guy. He can pretty much do everything.
Manny's they call him Handy Manny for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
He's very good at fixing stuff, and he helped a lot with the construction, and he's outside a lot of times. He does with the machinery and moving dirt around and digging the holes. So he helped out a ton with that. And even now, he's like our main maintenance guy.
Yeah.
If we need something, he's there to fix it all the time.
Yeah. How did you hook up with Josh? How'd you get to know him?
Through a mutual friend. So just jokingly, I said something to a mutual friend saying, "Hey," and I give him a shout out. It's actually Jeff Goulet from Loophole Brewing.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just joking around. I was saying to him, "Hey, I'm thinking of opening a brewery in the back, but I want to find a brewer that would be my partner." And next thing I know, like a week later, Josh and a few other people had reached out to me because Jeff had told them to reach out to me.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like in shock. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna really look into this and do something.
And his
so
product,
he kind of like pushed it a little bit. I guess.
Yeah, and his product is, Josh is a pretty talented guy. His product is very good.
Yes, he does a really good job with the beer. Yes.
So now we just walked by Iron Duke. So we got two breweries in town, as I mentioned. Iron Duke, which is now Soul Syndicate. What did you change the name? Soul Syndicate. It's a whole nother story. We'll talk to Nick at some point maybe, because breweries were never a thing when when we were kids. I'm a little bit older than you, but maybe Berkshire Brewing was kind of like the only one around.
I think Berkshire Brewing is the one that's kind of sparked my
around
interest.
Here. Yeah.
And from then on, like I said, me and my cousin, I was maybe 17, 18, and I wanted to drink. My family always let me drink anyway, responsibly, obviously. And my dad said to me, "Hey, if you want beer, then you need to go make it yourself." We always made wine.
Yeah.
More than what we drink his wine all the time. He was like, "I'm not buying beer, so if you want it, make it."
Yeah.
So me and my cousin started playing around. We would make it, and then from then on, I always had a passion for beer. We would go to ski trips, and we'd seek out every brewery in Vermont, on the ski trip, and try to hit the breweries and check them out.
Yeah.
We had multiple tours of a few breweries, and so we had a lot of fun. Even BBC one time. We'll go up there and bottle for a day to get
I did that before too. Yeah,
they give you a case of beer for
they buy you lunch and you get to walk away with a case.
Right. So I was always very interested in it. I just never thought it would actually come to reality.
Yeah. Wow, that's so cool. But like you said, it seems like there's so many little local breweries around now, right? I mean, compared to where it was from years ago.
Yes.
Which is really, really cool because it's fresh, it's local. You're supporting a local industry. So when you, Josh, Manny kind of get together, you decide to, okay, we're diving into this thing. We're going to do this full time. Because you've got wine, you've got liquor, you've got the full restaurant over there as well too.
Well, we had the full liquor license from Europa, and I did not want to give that up. Obviously, it's nice to have options for people to come in.
Yeah.
Even the food thing. It started out as it was going to be very simple pizzas and cheese and charcuterie plates.
Yep.
And then with COVID, the menu just expanded.
Yeah.
And now that's a big focus of it as well as the beer.
Yeah, you got the oven right there with the pizzas. You do the wood-fired pizzas.
They do a ton of barbecue.
Yeah.
So I got a smoker in the back. That was also one of my chef's ideas. When COVID hit, we were like, well, what are we gonna do? The only thing we have to offer for takeout is pizza. And he had the idea of say, hey, I know you do barbecue at home. Why don't we start trying to do some barbecue? So I was literally smoking everything at home and running it over to the brewery to sell it during COVID. Now we have now the old brewery in the back. The red building is actually has a smoker inside now.
Okay.
So now we do everything on site.
And the property itself, you've got a lot of a good amount of property. I know you do like your Oktoberfests, a lot of outdoor space, great venue for like bands and I'm not just saying this because you're here, but it's a great setup. And a couple of years ago, we had an event over there for the Cottings. You remember that when they had a medical thing happening in the family, and I don't know, we must have had, I don't even know how many people had there.
Probably like 300 probably.
Yeah, it was really great, but the venue was so great, and you've developed it where you can go playing cornhole over there. You've really kind of adopted this cool vibe for a brewery location.
Yeah, and that also happened kind of a spin-off from COVID, because we couldn't let people come inside. Mm-hmm. So we put a tent outside in the back, and we started serving out there, and then people started enjoying, like, oh, why don't we expand on it when we do live music?
Yep.
Then it became, well, why don't we expand on this and offer it for events for people?
Yep.
So now we have weddings there, we have like all birthday parties, all kinds of parties, private parties, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't, a lot of my background too is catering.
Yep.
And, I thought that part of my life was dead, but it's roaring again.
What's the most challenging part? I mean, how many staff members do you have over there?
Probably about 30.
That's a good amount of that's a good amount of staff. What is like from an owner's perspective? Is it just there's no day off, right? I mean,
no, you always. I mean, even if you're not there, even if, again, I have very good staff, so I get to take days off, but you're not really off. You have to have your phone by your side and answering messages, and and you can never really be off anyway. Like it's my baby, so I'm gonna check the cameras. I'm gonna call in. I'm gonna check in. If nobody's saying it, if I don't hear from anybody for a few hours, I start to get nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's got to be a blessing and a curse at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is your wife involved? The kids involved? Or is it...
My son actually is serving there now.
Okay.
He's 18, so he started to serve. My daughter is a hostess there, so they're both involved. My wife doesn't really get involved. She does banking.
Okay.
So she's the smart one and stays away.
Yeah. Right. How many kids do you have?
2.
Do you hope that they'll eventually kind of take over the business someday?
Well, like I want them to. My son's in college right now, so I want them to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Like I tell them, like, this is here, and hopefully it'll be here for a long time. Do your thing. If you want to, they can always come back to it. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it, kind of. But I want them to experience their own thing and not look back and say, hey, maybe I could have done something different, but my dad pushed me into this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, I get that. And you really got to have a passion for it. Like you said, you've been doing this since you were 14 years old.
Right. You
kind of fell in love with that. Do you come up with, you said you have a chef, but do you come up with the new menus that you're going to put together?
So the first menus, I did it. I came up with them on my own with my executive chef. We kind of collaborated together and wrote the menu. And now it's any changes, it's always ongoing, but I'm always heavily involved in it. But my executive chef will help me write the menus and stuff. It's a collaboration between me and the whole kitchen, really.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because I mean, I've been there numerous times, and my favorite thing is the meat candy.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody. I go there and it's like, and it's such a.
It runs out all the time.
Yeah, it's such a small commodity here. We'll come over here and chat over here. Commodity that when it's gone, right? I mean, it's not like you can just fire up some more when you get there. Outside of work, I know you're a big cyclist. You really enjoy biking.
Yep, biking, skiing, try to stay active.
How did that little passion start?
Biking, just, I don't know, I've always liked biking from when I was a kid. I always found like mind cleansing and like freedom. It was my own, when I was younger, it was freedom to go do things because you didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And now it became just very like stress relieving and mind cleansing. Let's say.
Yeah.
After going for a ride, I feel great, and it's balances out my eating and drinking, so I could enjoy my other stuff a little bit.
Burn some calories so you can put it back on.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know when I did the Ride to Remember a couple of years ago, you were kind of one of you and Mark were kind of one of the guys that kind of kept everybody in line, and there was 200 or 300 of us out there on the bikes.
Yeah, so we've been helping out with the Ride to Remember for, I think this is going to be my 6th or 7th year.
Yep.
And we also donate to the Ride to Remember. It's a great cause. And you know, I was never a police officer, but I have a lot of respect for anybody that's a police officer or in that field. But it's an amazing ride, and every year I look forward to it.
Yeah.
We have a good time.
I think it's 70. When I did a couple of years, like 70 miles. Is that the average?
It started at it was 100 miles every year.
You used to go to Boston,
Yeah, to Boston and back, or not to Boston. Sorry, straight to Boston. We would take a bus back. Now they've kind of shifted it around. One year it was like 55 miles. Last year was 70 something. This year I think it's going to be again 70 something. We're going to Hartford, I believe.
Yep.
So they've changed it a little bit, but it used to be 100 miles all the time.
Right.
To Boston.
And that's I think the Kevin Ambrose was a police officer in Springfield, and he was killed. They started it as kind of a memorial for him, and it's really taken off.
Yeah, started with 10 or 12 guys, and now it's they've had 400, 500.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's a good time. So I mean, between the business, that stuff, what other kind of hobbies do you?
Skiing right now.
Yeah.
Skiing is my other passion. In the winter, I love skiing. I try to go as much as possible. My kids like it too, so they go with me as well quite often. And it's with the family, it's awesome. There's nothing better than sitting on a lift with your son or your daughter and having 12 or 15 minutes that they're forced to talk to you.
Yeah, that's funny. It's a good way of looking at it. That's funny. Yeah, we're supposed to get a good storm tonight, so hopefully up north. Do you have a favorite mountain that you go to?
My favorite mountain is probably Magic Mountain.
Okay.
Even though I think the last couple of years I really haven't gotten there as much because I was trying to show my kids like other mountains. So we've bought in the pack. Like the only way to ski now is you have to buy a pass.
Yeah.
So we've done like Mount Snow, Stratton, Killington. Stratton, I like Stratton a lot too, and Killington. Killington's my favorite, but it's just, as another one of my favorites. But it's far, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's a ride.
Little trip to get up there.
Yeah. But anything in Vermont,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we were pretty fortunate, especially being here in Western Mass, whereas you get 91, you shoot right up,
Yeah.
If you can go up to New York and go
you
that
could
way.
be on Mount Snow in an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are the conditions pretty good up there right now?
Right now, this is like the best season I remember in probably 10 years.
Yeah. We finally are getting some cold.
Right. Even though we haven't gotten snow, but it's been cold that they're making snow like crazy all the time,
Yeah.
But now we're getting snow.
I know. We're supposed to get like a good 8 inches maybe tonight. We're if I was going to say before, but do you have any trips planned for this weekend, next couple of weeks?
Not this week, maybe next weekend. I think me and my son are going to go up to Magic. My cousin has a place there as well, so we'll probably go up there next weekend for the day.
Yeah. Where's your son going to school?
Winnick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Winu.
No, Winu.
Yeah.
Sorry, Winu.
You're aging yourself by saying Winnick, exactly.
Right.
So, well, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to Mike a little bit. Entrepreneur, been in business for himself for his whole life. Vanish Valley is a great spot in town, easy to get to, plenty of parking, good beer, good food, good location, and it's always great to support local business. Let's get the clock tower behind us over here. I was trying to
did a beautiful job with
end
that,
the show with the clock tower behind us. We're close to it. So the reason we're kind of doing a little bit different this week is, like you said, the whole Riverwalk itself is a sheet of ice. You can see right behind me here. It's like glistening because we got that snow the other day and it just froze right on top of it. So we're right next to it. Have you been inside the new mills since it's been renovated?
I haven't.
It's beautiful.
I've seen pictures. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Actually, my in-laws are living here right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they just moved back up from Rhode Island.
Nice.
So it's nice high ceilings. It's so great that you're a Ludlow guy.
Yeah.
That these are being renovated over here.
Yeah, they sat vacant and dilapidated for forever.
For a long time. Yeah.
I mean, they did a killer job with the clock tower too.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You can see it right there. It's right up there, and it lights up at night. It's beautiful. So, that's going to do it for this week's show. Again, Mike, thanks for taking time to chat with me here. If you guys got any suggestions, people you want to see, maybe on here, I really like supporting local businesses. So this isn't just going to be about Ludlow. It's going to be about regionalized businesses and people and different issues. Hopefully, keeping it lighthearted and just having a good time. So that's going to do it. See you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.